You're listening to WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network, Singles Talk Radio channel, where we take a lighthearted and candid approach to discussions on the journey of relationship loss, divorce, parenting, being single, relationships building, dating, and yes, sex. Join our listeners and begin living your best life.
Hello, everyone. This is Rosalind Sadaka, and you are listening to Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living on WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network. I'm very excited to have our guest today, who is a woman who has much of value to share with us. I want to apologize if I sound a little stuffed. I'm getting over a cold, but other than that, I'm in high spirits, and I'm eager to talk to you about our guest, Sonia Queralt. And Sonia is a divorce litigator, a divorce coach, and a divorce survivor. And she now dedicates her career to helping people going through divorce, focused on building their future. Sonia earned her bachelor's degree at American University, and she studied law at Northeastern University School of Law. And today we're going to talk to Sonia about what I think is a very important topic, and that is why not to go through divorce alone. So let me say hello to Sonia Queralt.
Hi, Rosalind. Such a pleasure to be here. Very grateful to be on the air with you.
Well, I'm honored as well. And I wanted to start by asking the obvious question that everyone is interested in, and that is, what are the dangers of doing divorce alone?
Absolutely. What a great question. And the list is so long, so I'm really going to focus on a few key elements. Mm-hmm. I think some of the issues with going through the dangers of doing divorce alone are the lack of orientation. Most of us, no two divorces are the same. So even if you've been through the divorce process once before, every divorce is different. So where do you start? What professionals do you need? What process is right for you? Do you mediate? Do you litigate? So really this lack of orientation. Secondly, I think that with that comes the risk of spending legal fees and other fees on the wrong process, the wrong professionals, and getting yourself down a rabbit hole where finances and maintaining your finances are very important when you're going through a divorce. You're going from a household of two to suddenly a life of one with perhaps your children. So budgeting is very important. So you really want to know what you're doing, where to start in order to not spend money that you don't have or that you're really going to need for something else. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, I think, misinformation. We live in a day and times where we can Google everything. However, that's wonderful, but at the same time, there's a lot of bad information out there. So you really want to make sure that you're relying on the right information and the right professionals in order to get to your chapter 2 in the best way possible. Lastly, I think that divorce in general is a very, very isolating event. It's a very private event, and many people we initially feel, and I put myself in it because I am divorced as well, you feel that you failed at something. And really doing divorce alone and marinating in those feelings can be very counterproductive to being able to take the first steps towards your journey in healing.
Well, those are really significant points you made, and I just wanted to emphasize the fact that not only can you be exposed to misinformation or confusion, but very often we're barraged by often well-meant, intended friends and family and coworkers who barge in and say, well, when I did my divorce, we did this, and I believe you should never do that, and this is the way you should approach it. And you get a lot of information from people who may not have had the healthiest mindset or the best outcome in their divorce, and they're giving you advice about how to do it. And boy, can that get you down that rabbit hole. So I really wanted to emphasize the importance of what you were saying there.
Absolutely. I could not agree with you more. There's nothing scarier than hearing from somebody who comes to you. When I would have clients come to me and they say, well, I know exactly what I need to do, and I got my information over coffee with some friends or neighbors at Starbucks, and I'm thinking, uh-oh. Because like I said in the beginning, and like you just said, no two divorces are the same. So you really need to put the right help in place and have the right resources that work for you and your family. Absolutely.
So I understand that you have done something very innovative, and you have created something called Divorceify. That's Divorceify, and I'm eager to find out about what Divorceify is and how it works.
Absolutely, yes. Divorceify is a platform where we have created predictive technology. So what does this mean? It means that anybody who is thinking about divorce or going through divorce can come to our platform. They can complete a guided intake that takes a little bit less than 5 minutes. And what they get at the end of it is what we're calling a divorce roadmap. What it is a customized guide to that person at that time, where they receive a few things in this guide. They receive recommendations on the best process for them to start when it comes to their divorce. They receive matches to vetted professionals in the Divorceify network that are not only lawyers but mediators. You're part of our network, and we're always so grateful to have you there. Parenting experts, therapists. They get matched to the right team of professionals that can really help them through their divorce process. And lastly, they also get vetted resources, so they're reliable. We know the information in there is accurate, and that relates to them where they are in the divorce process. And then they get a few little tips on how to control legal fees, tips on what important documents to collect in order for them, when they're meeting then with their professionals, they're ready. People are empowered. There's a sense of control, and there's a sense of knowing where the starting point is. So that's what Divorceify does.
I love the concept because I know this is one of the most challenging and confusing times in life. And doing it on your own or doing it without the guidelines that you're offering makes you very vulnerable to misinformation or being exploited, even by professionals. As founder of the Child-Centered Divorce Network, I'm very focused, of course, on the parenting side of the equation. And not every attorney is as family-oriented as I would like them to be. And so I try to steer my clients towards divorce attorneys or mediators that are really understanding the emotional dynamics of divorce when you're a parent. And this is the kind of information that you can give Divorceify, and they will make sure to steer you in the right direction so that you're getting your entire family dynamic protected all the way through. Is that right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right, Rosalind. As we know, divorce is much more than just a legal problem. Yes. And in order to really guide people to the best possible Chapter 2 they can have, we need to address all of it, the emotional aspect, all of it. And that's what Divorceify does. It really approaches divorce in a holistic team approach, so that your attorney is not your therapist is not your financial advisor, and we are putting the right pieces in place to address every aspect of that family unit.
That makes a lot of sense. So being divorced yourself, I'm going to ask you this question. Why did you start Divorceify?
Well, exactly. So I turned tragedy into triumph. So let me start with this. I was a litigator, divorce litigator. I did a lot of high-end divorces. And right away in the process, I realized that there were a few things lacking. Number one, there was this lack of team approach by the professionals. Mm-hmm. Clients were coming to me and thinking that because I was their lawyer, I could solve everything and I could address every issue. And I cannot. I am just the lawyer. Number two, I really saw that client, we needed to address the emotional aspect. So I became very involved in getting the right players for my clients, the right professionals on their team, from divorce coaches to really help them prepare for meetings, to deal with some of the emotional turmoil that clients go through. So the lack of team approach I saw as well. The other part of it is I started it because I saw the misinformation. I saw that clients were getting the wrong information from friends, from family, and sadly enough, true, as you and I know, from other professionals.
Yes.
And that's something that should not happen. And it was something that I saw right away that clients were wasting money with things that if they had just spoken to the right person that had given them the right information, they never would have had to spend that money. Lastly, when I went through my own divorce, I was still litigating at the time, and everybody looked at me and said, well, you're a great divorce attorney. You do this every day. You're in court every day. You know exactly what to do. And my world was spinning, and I realized, no, I actually don't. And I had to practice everything I had been preaching to my clients for years. I had to surround myself with the right team of professionals. I had to seek the right help that I needed for myself to start the healing process and really start something that, even though I knew so well, I didn't know, because now it was my life. So those two things hand in hand, I thought, you know what? I had been spending a lot of time when I got home from my firm. I'd been spending a lot of time on Divorceify. It was truly my passion. And I thought, well, I have nothing to lose. I've lost just about everything, and it's time to really take a risk. And I launched it.
Wow. I so appreciate the candor in what you're sharing with us, and the value of just what you put together. Before we start our conversation, you had sent me a description about Divorceify, and I just want to read it for our listeners because I think it really encapsulates what we've been talking about. Divorceify is innovating the way consumers approach divorce with divorced GPS, an unbiased divorce orientation and needs assessment powered by predictive technology. Each of the 2 million Americans getting divorced each year has a unique set of problems necessitating a unique solution. After completing a guided intake, clients receive a customized roadmap predicting their optimal divorce process and matching them to vetted professionals in Divorceify's national network. That makes so much sense, and it's like if you have a health challenge, if you come down with a kind of cancer, you obviously want to see the specialist who has the most experience in healing the kind of problem that you're dealing with, and this is the kind of service that you're providing is matching people up with the level of professionals. And I personally love the team approach because I feel divorce is much more than a legal issue. As you said, it's an issue that encompasses mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual facets of our lives all being challenged at the same time. And yes, it takes a team. It takes a team to set you right and also to save you money because your attorney is not your therapist, as you must well know.
That's right. That's right. And, you know, we really emphasize at Divorceify, and I know, Rosalind, you feel the same, that divorce is not a one-size-fits-all approach. Mm-hmm. And the way that the system is set up, which is a bigger challenge for another day to try and change, it really funnels people through this process, and it's not customized. Each family has different struggles, has different pain points, and we need to address it family by family, not just, oh, you're getting divorced, check, you have children, check. No, it is not a one-size-fits-all approach, and that is really what we are behind at Divorceify, customizing the process to each person, no matter where they are in the process.
Well, I love the concept. We're going to stop and take just a minute to take a break, and we'll be right back. I've been interviewing Sonia Queralt, and we'll be back again in just a moment. Hello, everyone. This is Rosalind Sadaka with Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living on WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network. I've been interviewing Sonia Queralt. I'm so sorry. And Sonia is a divorce litigator, divorce coach, and a divorce survivor, and she is the founder of Divorceify. And we've been talking about the many facets of why she put it together, how it works, and the value for those of us who are approaching divorce or in the midst of divorce and want to do it in the safest and most sane way possible. So, Sonia, let me ask you this. What are some of the most important benefits of doing divorce with Divorceify?
Sure. So some of them are, one, you're being oriented with reliable information and how to approach your divorce right from the start. You know that when you're doing your divorce with Divorceify, right from the beginning, we are giving you customized information that makes the most sense for your family to get through this process. Secondly, you are getting connected to the right team of professionals, not only you, Rosalind, but our whole network that is out there. These are professionals that have the same mission as Divorceify, that care for your family and really want to see your family get to chapter 2 in the healthiest way possible. So you're being connected right to them seamlessly and easily. Number 3, you are going through your divorce with Divorceify. You're also being connected to reliable resources and information. You don't need to spend the time Googling, filtering through what's accurate, what's not. You get that right away, automatically at your fingertips. And lastly, it's just peace of mind. You know that we are a team, and by team, it's not, I include all of our professionals as our Divorceify team, because we're only as strong as each one of us that's a member of this community. You're being connected to the right team of professionals and the right people that really have your best interest and your family's best interest at heart, and that's right from the beginning.
Well, it certainly sounds like a solid and sound concept. Let me ask you this. How can people find you and Divorceify?
Sure. So we are, our URL is www.divorceify.com. We are also on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, so they can really find us anywhere. My email is just Sonia, SONIA, @divorceify.com. So we tend to do a lot of promotion online. We continue to build our brand and our voice. So that is how people can find us.
Excellent. And pronounce your name, because I think I might have mispronounced it before.
You actually did it, which I'm very surprised. Most people do. My name is Sonia Queralt, and my last name starts with a Q, so it's a bit unusual.
Wonderful. Okay, that's Queeralt. So, Sonia, I really want to find out what your personal best suggestions are for getting through divorce sanely, having been through it. So you're on both sides as a divorce professional and as someone who's been divorced. share with our listeners some of your best suggestions.
Absolutely. With some of the things that I did to really get through my divorce family, I created a safe space, a non-judgmental, what I like to call safe space with my friends and family. I surrounded myself with people that I could just talk to, cry to, yell, whatever I needed to do, that loved me, where I felt loved, accepted, and not judged. I really did that right from the beginning. I could pick up the phone and call certain people any time of night, any time of day, and that was the first thing that I really did for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Second, I talked about it. I talked about the crumbling of my marriage. I talked about what I had done wrong. I talked about I talked about it all. I got it out. I think it's really important to not sit in this secrecy of feeling that you can't share with your safe space what has really gone on behind closed doors. I did share, and with that release really came a sense of empowerment and letting things go. Be kind to yourself. It's very easy when you're going through something so traumatic and so hard to really neglect yourself. And 9 times out of 10, we do that on a daily basis because of just life and work and the balance and running around. But really take time and be kind to yourself. Let yourself feel what you are feeling. Don't tell yourself, oh, stop it, you've been crying about this for days. Let yourself be. Your soul needs it, your heart needs it, your mind needs it, and you really have to become your own best friend. So I really internalized that with my therapist, with my safe space, and every day it started with all I would do was just take a few moments in the morning. When I could shower, I did. When I couldn't, I didn't force myself, and I just sat there with a little cup of tea and just took deep breaths. I think the last 2 things I will say is get active, whatever that means. Go outside, walk, just get some fresh air. It really, it sounds so silly, but it is so unbelievably helpful. Don't stay cooped up in your house. Get outside, get active a little bit. And lastly, sort of my rule, and this was my therapist, and I'll always be grateful to him for making me do this, even though at the time I thought he was crazy, but he said one day to me, he said, you know what, Sonia, I want you to do something for me. Tomorrow, at some point tomorrow, you take a few minutes and you think about anything else but your divorce. That's it. And I remember thinking, this is impossible. How can I do this? It's consumed my entire life. Everything has changed. And I did it, and the first day I only lasted 2 minutes. But by a few weeks in, I was up to 5 minutes, and every day I made it a point as I sat with my little cup of tea on my couch, looked at a blank wall, and just forced myself to not think about it. And then there was the day where I thought at the end of the day, wow, I've gone all day and I haven't thought about it. I have not thought about my divorce. And it was a very healing and empowering process for me. And even though I recognized it was so hard, it was really worth it.
Wow. You've said such important, significant things in all of your steps and suggestions to our listeners, and I am so grateful to you. Basically, you're saying that this is a process, and you have to allow yourself to go through the process and not put a lot of shoulds and musts on yourself during it. Allow yourself to feel what you're feeling and be kind and gentle to yourself. And if you're surrounded by negative people who are bringing up what you don't want to be bringing up, what your therapist told you to let go of and release, then you need to be careful about the company you keep and where you put yourself so that you're really supported and not brought back into the dredges of the dark stuff that really needs to be let go of. Would you agree about that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, Rosalind. Absolutely.
I also want to suggest during the process that when you start thinking about the relationship and where did it go wrong and what did I do and how did this happen to me, that you be careful about not falling into a victim state where you're looking at it all from the place of this happened to me and I'm powerless, because it's so important to regain your power when you step out beyond the divorce and move on into thinking about what your new life is going to be looking like, dating after divorce and finding a healthy new relationship at some point in the future. So you want to keep from feeling that you are helpless and powerless, and instead look at your relationship situation and find the lessons that you can learn. It may be as simple as never choosing someone who does such and such, or or being aware of red flag warnings a lot earlier on. Oh, I should have seen that. He told me that, but I didn't listen. People very often tell us who they are. So when you're reviewing things, you don't want to be beating yourself up, but you want to look for the lessons so that, and I call them really the gifts, because those gifts are something that's going to help you move on in your life and transition into a better place for yourself and especially for your kids if you have children. So it's definitely a process that takes some introspection, some reflection, and some willingness to grow and learn during this very difficult time, so that you could look back on the divorce and say, as painful as that was, I am so glad, because I wouldn't be who I am today looking back. And I found that happen for me. No one wants to go through it. No one wants to join the club of being divorced. But if you could look back and say, my life is better now and I'm happier than ever before, then that made it worthwhile on some level. And that's what we want to do, is find the gifts, find the lessons, find the insights that can help us grow and become more of who we want to be in the future. Do you have any thoughts along those lines?
I could not agree with you more. I tell everyone that if I would have known how wonderful Chapter 2 was, and how much as a person, how much I have grown and my heart has grown, and I would have left a long time ago. And that's the reality. It was not easy, and the process was hard and painful, but I look back at my divorce, and like you said in the beginning, it was such a gift. And the entire healing process that I went through and the struggle was such a gift to myself. And I'm very happy. I'm remarried, which, when you're going through it, you never think you will. And I dedicated my healing and my process to becoming a better partner, a better person, a better divorce professional, a better friend and daughter, just a overhaul on who I am. And I really view my divorce as very hard, but it was a gift to myself. And I wouldn't go back, and I don't have any regrets, and I wouldn't take it back for any reason. I'm proud in many ways to be part of the divorce club.
Beautifully said, and I happen to agree. I have the same feelings and the same sentiments. So it was a catalyst for growth that turned out to be positive growth in both of our lives. So before we end, Sonia, please remind us again of where we can find you so people can learn more about Divorceify.
Absolutely. Our address is www.divorceify.com. My email is Sonia, Sonia, @divorceify.com. We are on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and you can reach me directly. If anybody needs anything, I'm here to help and always happy to.
That's wonderful. Well, you've been a wonderful guest. You've definitely given us candid and caring information about making the process of going through divorce easier and simpler, more cost-effective, and a better experience overall. And we all need that when we're dealing with the realities of divorce. So thank you so much, Sonia Queralt. And I am so grateful for you to share your time with us today.
Thank you so much, Rosalind, for having me, and I feel the same. Thank you. Very grateful for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
And I want to invite our listeners to join us again because we are at WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network, and our shows are archived there so you could find us. And this is Rosalind Sadaka, the founder of the Child-Centered Divorce Network. You can find my information as well as a free ebook on post-divorce parenting, all at childcentereddivorce.com. And this show is Divorce, Dating, and Empowered Living. I hope you'll join us again. Bye-bye for now.
You're listening to WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network, Singles Talk Radio Channel, where we take a lighthearted and candid approach to discussions on the journey of relationship loss, divorce, parenting, being single, relationships building, dating, and yes, sex. Join our listeners and begin living your best life.